Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about how looking for answers in polling data is the same fruitless and foolish endeavor as looking for meaning in dreams. All right, let's talk about it. All right, so about 8 years ago, I had a series of unusual dreams. They didn't really match any of the dreams I'd had previously, and they really kind of struck me, and I decided that I wanted to know what these dreams meant. So I researched the topic of how best to determine the meaning of a dream, right? And I found a lot of information telling me exactly how to determine meaning from a dream I had had, but I wasn't comfortable with the bona fides of any of the sources, right? The answers didn't sound wrong to me, but I knew that none of the sources were accepted in any kind of scientific institute or anything like that. So I immediately, when everything I was finding was telling me this is how you find meaning in dreams, and none of them came from scholarly or scientific sources, I got concerned. So I sought scientific and scholarly sources, right? And there were some. So basically, Hobson and McCarley were two Harvard scientists, and in 1977, they put forward the activation synthesis hypothesis. And what they did was they took dreams and they applied and they said, dreams always have 5 attributes. They contain intense emotion. They contain illogical content. They contain apparent sensory impressions. They contain uncritical acceptance of events, right? And they are difficult in being remembered, right? So 5 attributes attached to dreams by 2 Harvard psychiatrists in 1977, Hobson and McCarley, in their activation synthesis hypothesis. So I read the whole activation synthesis hypothesis, and I came away understanding that what they were saying was looking for meaning in dreams is really, what dreams are is they are intellectual refuse, right? They're just scattered like sparks that are coming off of your intellect, right? They're essentially, dreams are their intellectual refuse, or more accurately, mind trash, right? So when you go looking for meaning in your dreams, you're really rummaging through your own trash, right? And just a logical person I am, I realize when the reason I don't rummage through my own trash is because when you do, you get filth on your hands and you come out a stinker, right? And so immediately I stop my attempts to find meaning in the dreams, right? And so recently I've been just doing a ton of study and research on this new upcoming election. I'm really studying in depth this historical event that we're going through right now, right? It's a present event, which will soon be historical. And I want to have a deep understanding of these 15 Democrat primary candidates, because this is history in the making. I'm super excited about this, right? And one of the things I realized is I kept hearing polls, right? And I would hear these polls and I was like, that's utter nonsense. What are these polls? Where are they taking these polls, right? The results of these polls seem meaningless. And then I went back and I reread Activation of Synthesis Hypothesis, and I realized, oh my goodness, the reason polling data comes up with nonsense is because the poll answerers have every single one of the 5 attributes of dreams. Poll answerers have intense emotions, right? Poll answerers have illogical content. Poll answerers have apparent sensory impressions like, I really like the way that candidate looks, right? They have uncritical acceptance of historical events. Either they just believe whatever they've been told about the history of different events, right? Absolutely dead on for poll answers. And poll answers have difficulty in remembering what they told the poll takers, right? It's exactly the same, right? In my opinion, looking for answers in poll data is exactly the same fruitless and foolish endeavor as looking for meaning in your dreams, right? So look at it this way. See, polls are always, in my opinion, bound to fail. Here's why, okay? Basically, every poll is funded. So the first reason polls fail is influence of money. And influence of money shows up in one of two places. The person who is the group that is funding the poll, or the groups that will pay for the data in the poll or pay for the findings of the poll. The poll answers and the poll takers are incented to skew the data toward the covertly or the overtly communicated desires of the poll funder or the poll data buyers. Okay? That's the problem. Here's a big one. The answers are highly incented to say what they believe is socially acceptable. That's a massive problem, right? And we saw that so clearly in 2016, right? So clearly, like it was like rock solid data that people were highly incented to say what they felt they were supposed to say, right? Here's a huge reason polls fail almost all the time, right? Poll answers are fundamentally the most non-active members of our society, okay? I took a poll when I was 20 years old. The poll taker said, "Hey, do you have 5 minutes to take a poll?" I said, "Sure," right? I walk over at 10 minutes with the question still going on. I said, "This has been going on for 10 minutes and you haven't given me any indication of when this is done. And you've taken twice the time that you said this poll would take." I never took another poll in my life. And the reason why is I have an active, robust life. But poll answers inherently do not have active, robust lives. Fascinating, right? So the people who have the most non-robust, non-active lives of anyone in society are being looked to show the direction of the society. No, terrible idea. Absolutely terrible idea. Oh, so how would you fix that, right? How would you get away from these non-active, non-robust living people, right? Well, you would pay them. Guess back what? You're right back to the influence of money problem, right? So like poll dating is inherently bad and it can't be fixed, right? You either get the most non-active people or you pay them and then you get skewed answers. There's no way to fix it, right? So, and if you want proof of this, there's no better proof that actually one of the hugest proofs, there's there's a past proof and there's a present proof. Past proof is the Clinton-Trump, polling data. Absolutely epic fail, right? The wreckage of the Clinton-Trump polling data hit many groups and hit many pundits, right? Proving that they had no idea what the American people actually wanted, right? But the biggest one I think is right now, right? They're saying, so if you look at the poll data right now, they're saying, and this is like across the board on the largest corporate media sites are saying, who's the front runner? Well, it's Joe Biden. Well, what kind of nonsense is that? Joe Biden isn't running. You can't be a front runner if you have not even declared your intent to run. It's complete and utter nonsense. Meaningless. The same thing you would get from rummaging through your own trash. It's exactly the type of fruitless, foolish endeavor that mediums go about when they try to determine meaning from dreams, right? It's exactly the same, in my opinion, right? So basically, we do this because we desperately want to know who will win, but we cannot know because who is winning the poll answers are fundamentally the worst people to indicate the direction of our nation, right? Anybody who answers polls, they're the worst possible people to ask. They're the least engaged, most non-active of all people, right? And also, just so you're aware, actually poll takers have recognized this because they call people on their landlines. One of the worst, it's one of the worst ways, and they still do that to this day, right? And it's almost impossible to do this on cell phones with modern people because most people who have modern viewers, modern cell phone owners, they won't answer a call from a number they don't know. They know better than that, right? So all we can do, despite our desire to know who will win, all we can really do is educate potential voters about the candidate we want to win and persuade potential voters to vote for the person we think should run the nation. We expend that energy and we hope for the very best. So, in my opinion, looking for answers in poll data is exactly the same fruitless and foolish endeavor as going to a medium and asking that medium to tell you the meaning of your dreams. They are exactly the same activity, in my opinion. That's my opinion. What do you think? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful day.